Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth on covert narcissist aloofness. And what does that mean as a trait of a narcissist? Someone who could be pathologically and covert a manipulator. Someone who, by lack of deflection and passive aggressive thinking, behaving, and becoming, they basically have a default of activity or supply, causing others to give, be, do, and keep the other sort of as the one who is better than and to be listened to, and sort of keep aloof, keeping them out of checks and balances. Why? Why does the covert narcissist like to be aloof? They do not like confrontation. They just want to assume a win. They do not like direct communication. To them, they interpret it as a challenge of their character, a challenge of their behavior, and there simply is no place or room in their life to be questioned, to be haggled with, to be debated with, or really to have what you need reciprocated back to you. Reciprocation, meaning give and receive in equal amounts, giving credit where credit is due. A healthy man, well, I guess we're speaking about a covert man in this situation. A healthy male would give credit to his wife for a great meal, keeping a great home, raising their children, keeping everything prim and proper, being a great hostess, giving credit, acknowledgement, and validation for the good of someone, even if they don't possess it themselves. A healthy person is not fearful of what other people have. They are not jealous. Just because someone has an ability and you don't, they don't use it to threaten or put you down, leaving you out. So a healthy relationship is meant by empathy, mirror neurons. That you face each other, you discuss things. There's not a wall of separation. A covert narcissist will indeed erect a wall of separation. What can this wall be? This wall can be a library. This wall can be a garage. This wall can be an attic filled with things that they need to fix. It might be their hobby, but there's a certain degree of aloofness or lack of accountability on a covert narcissist. They just feel that because of who they are, they do not need to be questioned. It's just kind of like, look at me. You're going to question this? Are you kidding me? That's their inner attitude, as I would assess. So they do not like to be questioned, even when it's apparently correct to do so. Where the narcissist would indeed benefit from their constructive communication. Hey, we see things here. We can help you out. Nope, they want to just keep doing whatever it is they want to be doing, despite what others say that they need, they want, or bring it to their attention. So they tend to deflect or minimize contribution of others, not giving attention where attention is needed, or credit where credit is due, not able to acknowledge and validate. They keep sort of to themselves, and that is their wheelhouse. They erect walls, meaning they can drink heavily, be intoxicated by a hobby, emotionally intoxicated, not emotionally or readily available, not there. They are gone, exit. They are just in another destination, not here. Even if they're on a business trip, prolonged business trips, other just sort of not accountable, not with a check and balance, not a two-way street emotionally. That aloofness keeps them doing what they want to do, sort of living in their ivory tower. being able to, basically by default. So by not communicating, they really require a lot of work on the hands and shoulders and faces and hearts of other people with whom they are living. Why? Because they won't sort of extend themselves to another. They don't really meet in the middle. There is no consensus. This is not healthy behavior. A consensus means we're coming together. We have a shared understanding. Why is this such a big deal? The covert narcissist might not want to show that they are lacking. This is just their way of doing things. They don't like to change. If they are lacking, they don't like to acknowledge and validate it. That is them. This is me. This is mine. This is how I am. I almost made a mistake and gave all this up. They sort of hold on to this for their I am. And, all said be it, hey, everybody, have a human right. You have the right to be who you are, but you also have the right to have your needs met and have validation and consensus in agreement with others. So the aloofness sort of portends or looks to be sort of a passive aggressive disagreement or feeling of that they dislike or don't have the time of day for. Sort of making others, being negligent, unacknowledging, not being aware of, not attending, not being available, not in the present moment. If they're there, they're always doing something else and sort of just talking to you over their shoulder. You haven't seen their eye contact since who knows when. And this is supposed to be your husband, your boss, your mate, whoever you're living with. And it's just not working because you need eye contact. You need consensus. You need agreement. You need to have credit. You need to be validated that you have a voice, that you have something significant, and that you are of significance. The covert narcissist doesn't want to mark that others are significant. They downplay others, downplay the accomplishments of others. There is no high five gift, appreciation song, guest balloon. They do not show up. For all you know, it could echo off into the distance, never be heard by another soul. It does not make a difference. Maybe they're just not comfortable. They feel that maybe they're different and special and don't have to report to other people. They just have this sort of inner sense of entitlement, inner strong, inner willing, unbreakable, unshakable. These can be very strong, endearing qualities of a man or a woman. However, it doesn't work when there is the neglect, there is the lack of their being or producing, extending when that is required, assumed, expected, given, or part of the surroundings. In other words, just you scrape your knee. Oh, and then coming to your knee, you're important. How do you feel? Or, and just sort of coming to your level. A feeling that they can't come to your level. They just need to be above then. They expect to only associate and be associated with people of high rank, status, and importance, acting as if whoever got them there is a nobody. Don't, forget the small people, forget the big people, forget the people who did or didn't get me there. For them, I don't think they give credit to certain, they're so done with certain people and situations, and that's okay. They could be superior, better than, or have a talent that they need to have fulfilled that isn't set up in their present environment. It doesn't mean, though, that you have to suffer neglect, lack of attention, not bringing information to you, not discussing things with you, not including you, not keying you in, not being privy, not feeling, and not having then that experience, exercise in refraction, meaning being able to exercise that coming together in agreement muscle. having the experience of being a married couple and having things in agreement, that there is no one secretive, hiding, things that are just unspoken. It's, yeah, if you have an unspoken love, an unspoken passion, but when you start having just sort of an unspoken person, it really drafts a lot and requires a lot from the other people to make up for what is missing. And sometimes life feels very remedial. Like you have to go through this, not by your wanting or desiring, but you have to find where you are and being okay with where you are and getting the fortitude. Feeling like instead of identifying I'm of lack, that sort of I'm of lack sort of permeates then other people's subconscious, and they feel inadequate. These are not capable or fearful even of success, meaning if they make it big, they could be on their own and without someone, and this is threatening. This is fearful. I can't make it without you. It's just kind of like the Bambi, hey, where are you? You're part of my my crew. You're part of my what you call it when you're in the ditch. You've been in the trenches together. There's a feeling you've been in the trenches and they've been there. Basically, it's kind of like you feel that you're perpetually in the trenches, trying to dig yourself out, out of something that there's a feeling of perpetual struggle and having to overcompensate for the guilt, the unknowing, why you haven't received something that you can't put a finger on. So there's this mysteriousness. It's always a problem for others. It's not a problem for the covert narcissist. It gives them less of a job, less of a responsibility. They shouldn't have to be questioned. The big trust fund kid who's got $100 million in the bank is setting up shop or company, trying to get something off the ground, burning up money, getting black level Ubers, getting gourmet coffee, smoothies that are $25, just outrageous things, paying outrageous rent for housing, for business suites, for clothing, for shoes, for whatever it is that they're getting into, and simultaneously neglecting, which means they've got the foot on the gas, but they've put the brakes on everyone else, yet you seem to be, going forward with them, but you're not also in the perpetual motion. It's an existential experience of being minimized or experiencing low self-esteem. I feel that covert narcissists, because of this aloofness and this disregard for others in a neutral way, it's not an actual disregard. It's just like ignore you and you will go away. Just like my dentist poster on the ceiling. Ignore your teeth and they will go away. So it's kind of like they have this very passivity, but it's a very aggressive passivity, especially in the neglect side, which means they're not coming to your aid. They're not coming to the table. They're not listening to what you're giving. They're leaving it unassembled. No solution. Your cries for help are forgotten. They're not heard of. They're not listened to. They're not valued. It's no input to them. It's just you just feel like you bounce off of them and you don't have a connection. This is hurtful. And as it goes to human affairs, if you do not feel reciprocated and you feel rejected, that elicits the fight or flight akin to being attacked by the saber-toothed tiger. So it elicits that amygdala, that fear center that keeps you off center, fearful, always wondering, uncertain, always guessing, and then trying to pacify, the confrontation which you cannot fulfill. And this becomes a never-ending cycle until you break the cycle, until you break it completely. It is the knowing that a covert narcissist, because of this passive aggression, they invisibly put the heap on others. Here, you do it. You figure it out. They could just, they take the easy way out. Cannot do things for you or with you, but yet you're with them, and you're the one who's loving enough for two people, giving enough for two people, overextending, over mothering. And this could then be an enabling of a previous victimized identity or experience for you. So for example, if you were traumatized in your youth, or you had a similar experience of being ignored, you're going to gravitate subconsciously to the same similar vibration. And here you go, you're in the same situation, you're being ignored. Why am I? Because you're still in that connection to subconsciously feeling like I am this victim. I am part of this victim circuit, and I can't pop off and detach. Yes, you can. No, the abuser will teach you that you cannot. It's kind of like a drug abuser who tells you you can never get off this stuff. You will never live without this junk. You will always be a part of this clan. You'll always be part of this underground life. Hey, some people have been corrupted in and they want to get out. But those are the sort of seething feelings that make people hurt and make people stay in a lack mentality, which is a victim mentality, which is defined by I am not. It's defined by I am negative and not the positive. So the have not, I do not have, I do not, I am not. And that's negative validation. That sets up eating disorders, gambling disorders of disorders, more books of disorders, and the disorders that is created from the disorders. That is a problem source right there. It's like a fundamental number one, which seems so simple, yet it proliferates into so many areas that it's amazing. It's fascinating. And you have to be able to rein in some of these feelings then, so that you won't feel long forgotten, or that your life is long forgotten, or what you've done. They won't allow you to sort of live a life of meaning, because they can't validate and reciprocate it. There's always sort of a you're not. Can I get you to confess that you're not? You are a nobody. There's just like they want you to come out and say, I'm a nobody. That's why you've deserted me. That's why you left me. That's why, so to them, it's closure. It's how do they close the wound that they have created. They want others to profess to a guilt that they have not committed. That would basically make entertainment sake to the covert narcissist. They're claiming of power over the relationship. It keeps them from being hurt. You see, men who want to drop their women in the younger years. It's just so sad. But then it gets, even worse when you get into, people who are older, families, careers, houses, assets, vehicles, bank accounts. This becomes difficult when you feel ignored in your own being. You feel ignored in your own house, a stranger in your own life. And you say people don't, and you then forget reaching out, forget to be a person because it isn't rewarded. It's kind of like it extinguishes itself. That's a behavioral trait in psychology called extinguish. When it's not reciprocated, it's extinguished. It's snuffed out. You're expired. You're invalid. And that couldn't be further from the truth. But for a covert narcissist, it keeps them from having to do any work. What do you mean this isn't the right office space? This is the one that I picked. What do you mean this isn't the proper policy? What do you mean I'm the one for this? And they just go unquestioned. So stop judging yourself. After you've been in a relationship, I think as an effect or ramification, there's a lot of self-judgment, a lot of self-scrutiny, a lot of self-hatred that develops as a result of this type of relationship. So get out of that cycle and get into being. Just get into being yourself, what that means for you within and without. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony. Have a beautiful day.